So is Savarkar being used to polarize elections in Karnataka? Can the communal polarization really work in a state like Karnataka? Is the BJP showing some signs of nervousness that it needs a Savarkar Yatra? Is the Congress falling into the BJP's trap by allowing the BJP in a way to set the agenda? Captain Ganesh Karnik is BJP's spokesperson in Karnataka. Aishwarya Mahadev is the Congress's spokesperson. And Sandeep Shastri is coordinator Lokniti Network, but also the foremost political scientist from Karnataka. Appreciate your joining us. Let's turn to each of you. Captain Karnik, you first. Savarkar Yatra, is that what your state needs really in 2022, or is this a brazen attempt to polarize the elections, try and create a Hindutva vote bank in Karnataka?
Rajdeep, good evening, and good evening to my co-panelists. I personally feel among the tallest freedom fighters, I think there was a position which was required to be given to Veer Damodar Savarkar. I must compliment and congratulate, at least after 75 years, we are talking about Veer Savarkar and his contributions. This political rally which you are referring to is I think, a long overdue kind of a rally to go around the state and tell people why Savarkar and his contributions were neglected during the past 70 years, why people are so anti towards Savarkar, why Savarkar's posters are being damaged, and his contributions, unlike any of the freedom fighters, 28 years of Kala Pani. I don't think any of the glorified so-called freedom fighters had to undergo the kind of hardship Mr. Savarkar went.
But do you need a yatra, Captain Karnik? Do you need a yatra for this? Do you need a yatra in election year? All of what you say may well be, a lot of what you say may be right, but do you need a yatra to take to the people?
Obviously, because all these years, Savarkar has been very intentionally neglected. And there are protests against him. On one letter which he wrote to the British people, people have been completely neglecting Savarkar's legacy. So today, to take out all the differences, confusion from the minds, it is the right time to go around the state and tell people what was the contribution of Veer Damodar Savarkar.
Okay, so you're saying it is part of an information effort to reach out to people to tell them who was Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. Okay. You want to respond, Aishwarya Mahadev, to that? Is the Congress falling into a trap by allowing the BJP to rake up these issues, and then you respond and say, no, some congressmen say we will take out a Tipu Yatra, and then that becomes, in a sense, a recipe for a potential conflict?
Good evening, Rajdeep. I think it is only the BJP in Karnataka that is far more bothered about an 18th century ruler and a person pre-independence, as opposed to actually looking at the state of infrastructure and the condition of governance in my state today. And irony will have it that an atheist or a Nastik himself is now being eulogized during Ganesh Chaturthi. But then again, that's the great irony of the BJP and its allied institutions. Rajdeep, let's make one thing very clear. The BJP will always pick up the communal bogey when it does not have progress or an agenda of development. Today, my state is reeling under allegations of 40% corruption in the government. Not only did we have the PSI scam, we have the KPTCL scam today. You saw 11,000 potholes, and right after the rain, you see 6,000 or 7,000 of them again causing massive deaths and spinal injuries to people. The High Court hauling up the government saying your officers are so corrupt, we won't give them bail. And the BJP's infighting, which is legendary, so much so that the national leadership had to come put them back in line like a bunch of errant school children. All of these issues are plaguing the BJP so much, Rajdeep, that the only agenda they have is us versus them. I do not care what happened in 18th century. I do not care what happened pre-independence. You want to talk about history? Wonderful. But do not abdicate your responsibility as a government, and you are not government.
Your leader Siddharamaiah is the one who responded in a way to the Savarkar Yatra. Why respond to it? Ignore it. Why is the Congress in a way responding at all to the Savarkar Yatra? Because the moment you do, then it effectively becomes an issue to polarize. Now you've got the Sri Ram Sene and sort of fringe, so-called fringe groups also entering the fray.
You know, when Mr. Sidramaya spoke about it, he said you want to do a Savarkar Yatra, look at his contributions, but talk about GST, talk about inflation, talk about the common man's problems. And when we talk about Savarkar, if that is the conjecture, that is the narrative they want to put forth and have a Yatra instead of giving progress, the people of Karnataka are not stupid. But allow the Congress to also raise the fact that the objection lies in you can eulogize, you can sit and put anybody on a pedestal, but do not run away from your issues,
Okay.
do not run away from governance.
Okay.
The media will twist it, the BJP will twist it, they will try to make it an us versus them. And this is standard, basically communal BJP 101. We saw it in 2018, seeing it now, and this is the only agenda they have,
Okay,
Rajdeep, going forward.
let me, just a minute, let me take that to Professor Shastri. Dr. Shastri, you know, we are seeing this in Karnataka now over the last 9 months. Hijab one day, halal one day, Tipu Sultan the third day, Muslim traders allegedly boycotted during temple festivals. Now we are seeing Savarkar playing out versus Tipu on one side, roll up PFI under scanner, roll up Bajrang Dal under scanner. Is there a concerted attempt, you believe, to communalize the electorate in Karnataka like never before? And can that work in a state like Karnataka?
Rajdeep, we have heard what both the BJP and the Congress spokespersons said. I think there is beyond a shadow of doubt that in the last 7-8 months, the state has seen intense polarization on both sides, an attempt at majority polarization and an attempt at minority consolidation. And I think the issue is, if you look at what has recently happened and what we are debating today, we seem to be selective in the icons we would like to celebrate, rather than celebrating a movement, rather than celebrating an achievement, rather than celebrating our victory of independence. I think rather than looking at that larger picture, we are either looking at a single picture, a single person, a single episode, a particular moment, and then leaving out the rest.
No,
I think that's where we are doing the biggest danger.
Is it a deliberate effort because this is election year in Karnataka that this is being played out?
Beyond doubt, I think, and this has happened each time an election has come. For the people of Karnataka, the issues are fundamentally that of unemployment, price rise, infrastructure, and I think what the government of the day needed to do was highlight its achievements in these areas. And it was for the opposition then to say that this is not happening. But unfortunately, in the entire public debate, it is a fight between my icons and your icons, and people's issues be damned, and nobody needs to be worried about that.
But can it work? In your view, Dr. Shastri, in your view, especially in coastal Karnataka, large Muslim population, can it work? Can this form of politics, BJP swept Karnataka in the 2019 general elections. Do you believe that communal polarization can work on the ground or not?
Polarization has worked in Karnataka in pockets. Polarization on both sides has worked in pockets. But I think beyond a point, beyond a stage, beyond a moment, polarization on religious lines in Karnataka has its limits. And this has time and again been proved in the state. There are areas which can be influenced by this, and those areas are limited. And to try and take it beyond those areas, I think that would be something which will have to be seen, whether it actually works or not. Karnataka has not been a state which has responded to polarization. And Rajdeep, if I could make a small point, 2019 was not about communal polarization. 2019 BJP sweep was about the leadership and about the fact that the Congress and JDU came together and cut into each other's vote bank. It had not much to do with communal polarization. And if one believes that 2019 BJP victory was because of communal polarization, I think there is an error there.
Okay, so effectively you are saying that the political parties may well, particularly the ruling BJP in this instance, playing that card of arousing Hindutva passions, but in your view, that may have limited impact in Karnataka. I wish we had more time on the debate. We will continue to track Karnataka's politics. I appreciate my guest joining me. It's a state which will continue to make the headlines, I can assure you, in the next 7 to 8 months. For now, Aishwarya Mahadev, Captain Karnik, Sandeep Shastri, appreciate your joining me here on the news today tonight. Thank you.